Welcome to the Film Garage 208 podcast. My name is Sarah, and this is Daniel.
Hello.
Hello.
One of these days, I feel like I should say something other than hello.
Yeah, you can do the intro.
What's up, everyone?
You need some kind
I'm
of catchy
Daniel. This is Sarah.
tagline.
Yeah, catchy tagline. This is coming out in the new year, so Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
Today,
Happy 2024.
2024.
I know, it feels kind of weird, huh? This year's gone by. 2023 done.
Like 2 seconds. This is the fastest year ever.
Yep,
it really was.
This voice over here is Landon.
What's up?
He is the owner of Lando Laces.
Yep, that's me.
Yes, that's you. Tell us what your business is. What do you do?
So I am a custom sneaker artist. So I do a lot of airbrush work and custom design on sneakers. Both have just been, big passions of mine for a long time. I love sneakers. I love collecting them. And I also just love art. And it's just another outlet or, a different type of media than what you normally would have. A different canvas, right? Mm-hmm. Normally your artists are going to be on canvas or paper or digital. Being able to put that on a shoe, grabbing two things that I love and just combining it into one.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So
and people get to wear your art.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's one of one. Like, it's a way for them to express their likes and what they enjoy. And wearable art.
So is it like people bring you a blank shoe, just go grab a Nike from Foot Locker, and then they say, do your thing, or?
Yeah. I mean, people absolutely do that. And I've been lucky enough to have clients all over the country. So, we'll start the conversation, whether it's through Instagram or email or whatever that may be, figure out designs, what they want to incorporate, figure out what that base shoe is going to be, what the canvas is going to be. And so, they'll either ship it to me, obviously, if they're not here. Most of my clients locally have been introduced to me through friends or family or other businesses. And so, we'll meet up and then kind of get a better idea in person of what they want to do. Yeah. But it's awesome.
Cool. Wow. So you'll go out and buy the shoes for them. And
that's one option. I provide them the option to either pay me to go get the shoe that they want and then just start working, or they can get me the shoe either way.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So you said on social media. So where do people mainly find you?
It's been mainly through Instagram, at least on the local side. And then a lot of the work that I've got elsewhere in the country have been like people who know someone that I did work for. And it's just been kind of a big domino effect, and it's given me a little bit more reach. And one person sees something, they show 5 other people. Yeah. And just kind of has blown up from there.
Okay, so let's go into when you started this, I guess. So how did you, who and when?
I mean, custom sneakers by no means is something new. It's probably been around for more than a decade. I started seeing it, at least over 10 years ago with a lot of professional athletes. There's been TV shows.
There's been TV shows on it too.
Yeah. And I started seeing it with a lot of professional athletes, be it NBA players or MLB, NFL. I mean, all these professional athletes had custom shoes or cleats. And I'm like, man, where are they getting these?
They're always so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. At first you're like, is this like a one of one? Is this like a PE kind of?
You're like, only someone with that kind of money could get that.
Right. It was very exclusive.
Yes.
And then circa probably like 2015, 2016, I kind of started delving into the YouTube University, right? Yeah. Just spending hours and
realizing how much you don't know. And
yeah. I probably within a year, I mean, if I could look back at that far back in my YouTube history, probably spent a couple 100 hours just watching different customizers, techniques, what they do. And I'm like, I want to do this, and spent so much time just like absorbed in figuring out how I was going to do it. And so getting started, my wife was kind of the big push, because you're almost like, you want everything to be perfect and set up everything, just right before you launch into something like that. And she's like, what are you waiting for? Like, just like,
it's never
it's holding yourself back in the end.
Exactly. So she's like, let's get you this stuff and just run with it. So,
wow.
So what were you doing at the time then? You had a full-time job or?
Yeah. At the time, let's see, when I first started, I was working actually for Melaleuca, a local company here in Idaho Falls.
Like doing sales or?
In their finance side of things. And it's okay. It's an awesome company. I can't knock them, but it's like just a bad 9-to-5
just
office grind.
Any 9 to 5, really. I mean,
when you realize how much you're locked into your job versus the freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And this, I'm still working on. I'd love to be able to do this full time. Obviously, it's. I have supplemented with a full-time job. I still work full-time and do this on the side.
Okay.
Right now I manage a bike shop here in Idaho Falls. I've been doing that for about 4 years.
Cool.
But no, I would love to make custom sneakers something that I could do full-time,
Yeah.
just because it gives a lot of freedom.
For sure.
Yeah. So where did you do your very first pair, or who did you do it for?
Yeah.
My very first pair I did for one of my coworkers as a wedding gift. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try my hand at this. I did it in our garage. I can remember it was like dark, like super bad lighting, it's like kind of like an old, damp, nasty kind of garage. You can envision this. And so that was kind of my laboratory, and cranked out this first pair. He's a big Star Wars nut. So it's kind of a Nebula Galaxy themed Air Max 90. And I'll show you guys a picture too of those to be able to throw up. But that was back in 2017. So, and then from there, I've just kind of run with it for the last 6 years.
Wow. Okay. So are you posting on social media? Are you growing a following? Getting viral?
That's tricky. Not going viral. I mean,
It's so hard.
I firmly believe though that it only is going to take one person, or it'll happen overnight.
100%.
And it's just going to be a lot of nights until that one night happens that
Sure.
you blow up. So just trying to be consistent and stick with it.
It is.
Yeah. What's the quote? It's like overnight success takes 10 years or something like that.
Well, no, I always think about Lizzo, even though she's kind of in a bad light right now, was that one big song that was like her make break song that just came out. She wrote that and made the music video like 10 years ago, and it like just went viral.
That's crazy.
So it's like, she did that 10 years ago.
So you only have to wait 10 years and then...
Either that, or like most artists, it's not popular or famous till you're dead.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. Oh God, hopefully not, right? Fear sick.
No, I want to be doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
So with what you were saying, that typically like celebrities, pro athletes wear these, do you ever like send any out to try to get them to...
Yeah, I've sent an insane amount of DMs, and I'm sure 99.9%
Well, actual
of them.
shoes, you send anyone
Oh,
shoes?
I haven't done that. I mean, obviously to get out to people,
money.
you have to have connects, you know, you got to know the right people to be able to get from A to B to C, you know? But no, I've flooded DMs
That's how a few
of
people
athletes.
Have any
have gotten
responded?
some.
No, not yet. I mean,
No?
I'm working right now. Currently got a few things cooking with a few college athletes.
Cool.
And that's going to be kind of a first step. And I'm
Yeah.
totally cool and willing to accept that, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to start
For
somewhere.
sure.
You got to start with something to get your foot in the door. And
College athletes would pay for that though?
Oh, hell yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of college athletes would, you know, for these first few guys.
Because they allow that in college, right? You can wear custom cleats.
Yeah. Cleats, shoes. I mean, as far as I know, you can get away with that stuff. You see a lot of college athletes with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of the goal right now, is to get some of my artwork on college athletes' feet and then go from there.
So have you always been an artist? Did you ever do other types of things besides shoes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I look back to way back when I was a little kid, my grandma really encouraged it. She had me do work with all different types of media, be it watercolor or acrylic painting, or like glass art, and just really kind of fueled that creative side and encouraged it.
Yeah.
And let me delve into all different kinds of things, stuff that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise. So she's like a huge inspiration too, and one of the big reasons that I enjoy art so much.
Cool.
That's good. That's important though, to have someone like hone in that creative thing. Because people are definitely like a creative person, or you're more of a...
And to bring that out of you at a young
Different
age, so you knew you could do it. And
Exactly. Like, I think had I not done that from a young age, I may not have had the confidence or maybe some of the creativity later on in life to be able to jump in and just make it happen.
Probably the confidence too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Like that's years of practice even. Like
that too, but over time of like doing art, you realize, you know, there's no such thing as perfect art. You know, it's messy.
very subjective.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've got a lot of that out of the way already. And so it's like, you know what, like you can't mess up on this. Like, yeah, there's days where I'm like hyper focused on, you know, small details and stuff and want to have things as perfect as I can, but it is art and you have to accept that.
Yeah.
so is it hard to like fix mistakes when you're painting these shoes?
Yeah.
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 You do have to like nail it. You can't.
I've screwed up some shoes.
Yeah.
So what happens with that? If someone like buys some shoes and send them to you,
and I mess up.
And you mess up.
Luckily, none of them have been
Hurry and buy new ones and
that
pretend you
bad to where I
didn't.
have to get a whole new shoe. But
Okay.
there's been some like late nights where I'm like, how the hell am I going to fix this? And luckily, I've been able to get everything out, like polished, finished product out the door. But that's really how I've learned. Like, you have to mess up stuff to and make mistakes to be able to learn and continue to grow and hone in some of those skills. So
the learning moments that stick with you.
Yeah. Do you have people around here who do this with you, like friends or people to kind of keep you motivated, or is it just
no one else is doing any of the
YouTube?
custom work with me. Yeah, just me, myself, and I. But I do have a lot of friends that have really helped me grow, like my local client base. I go to a barber shop in Rexburg. It's Graffiti Beauty Barber. Troy, the owner, he and his wife Brandy have been like a huge platform for me. I met Troy about when I had started doing this, like 2016, 2017, and started showing him some of the stuff I was working on. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you hiding this? Like, you need to get this out there.
Yeah.
And so I started doing some pairs for him just as gifts to keep in his barber shop. And from there, they displayed them, and their barbershop's super unique in where they have kind of like an urban graffiti, like kind of cool feel to it.
Okay.
And it's one of those places where you can just sit down and just shoot the breeze with everyone. Like, people aren't in there just to get haircuts. It's a place, to go. It's therapeutic. And so anyways, a lot of my clients have come from them.
Cool. That's important.
Almost every single of one of the barbers in there has been a client at one point or another over the last few years. And then a lot of people that have come in there, they've told them about it. And so it's been like a really cool platform and has gone hand in hand with my artwork.
Yeah. Like, that's the good market then, the prime market.
Yeah.
It's like those people who are going to that barbershop.
Do you find that your customers like display the shoes as much as they wear them? There's a lot of it art where it doesn't actually get worn.
A lot of them are. Yeah. A lot of them are ones that go up
Interesting.
displayed. I've done some Kobe Bryant tribute pairs that were gifts.
Cool.
And it's up in kind of like a shrine with jerseys and other memorabilia. And then there are people who absolutely want to wear it. So it just depends on the person.
Sure.
Okay.
I know, like if I got some custom shoes made, I'd be so afraid to wear those out.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, some of the guys that wear them, they wear them like special occasions, a couple times a year. My barber, I mean, he wears his like once a week, and he's had a pair for a couple years now.
That's good.
But they've stood the test of time, so that's good.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's probably cool to see. It's like a tattoo artist seeing their work a year or two later. And
Exactly.
Walking around.
Look at that.
Exactly. Yeah, they do a big event every summer called Graffiti Day, and they open it up to the public, and there's like tacos, and it's cool to see like 5 or 6, 7 people up in Rexburg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's cool to see like 5 or 6 different people walking around like, hey, I did those 3 years ago, or I did, like, it's just a good feeling too to see that artwork out there and that people appreciate it.
That's cool.
That's really exciting.
So do you do other kinds of like graffiti then, just for fun ever? Like canvas type stuff? Or
Those days are...
You're focusing
Long
on
gone.
the business now.
Yeah. Tagging. And all
Yeah, you don't
that
have time for that.
No.
Tagging trains.
Yeah, stuff like that, right? No, I do other stuff too, like basketballs, soccer balls. So I do custom work on those. I've done a couple of basketballs as gifts for kids going from high school to the college level that their trainers or coaches got for them. And yeah, anyway, it's cool because anything can be a canvas, really.
Yeah. So you said you use like a spray gun.
Yeah,
or do you
airbrush.
paint it by hand? It's mostly airbrush.
Some handwork, some airbrush. It just depends kind of what we're accomplishing. If it needs to be like a little bit more detailed, use some fine tip brushes, or if you're trying to cover an area, the airbrush gives a real clean finish on the shoe. So
yeah.
I had a friend in high school whose mom did that with like blank canvas shoes from like Walmart.
No kidding.
And she'd use Sharpies and just draw things on it. She was really good.
That was like probably the people that got that started.
Yeah,
though.
maybe she was one of them. Yeah, back in the day, and people would just tell her what they liked, and it was always kind of like cheesy things like I play soccer and football, and I mean she was a great artist, but I think just times were different. And,
Sure.
But yeah,
It was kids.
And like seeing what your work is like, it's just it's just changed so much.
Yeah, it's come
Probably
a long
hard
way.
to stand out.
It is. It's very much, I mean, like anything else out there, there's a
cool
lot.
shoes.
There's a lot of cool stuff out there. There's a lot of artists. And so trying to stand out is really tricky, especially with social media.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you put your voice out there? Like,
Yeah, what have you
do
been
you
doing?
talk on?
I need to, you know what? I've been so focused on like just trying to have finished artwork out but I need to put my face and my voice into it. And I know really you have to be able to attach a face and, and a voice to your business. And I think that's where I've struggled with, or maybe been nervous to do that.
That's what's selling people
not
these
just you,
days.
yeah, but
we're nervous.
Us,
like even like showing our faces on things.
It's
like
hard.
this has been our extent was like doing a podcast to rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
It's hard to just sit there and talk to the camera if you're like not one to just do that.
Yeah, especially if it's just one-on-one. Like this is awesome. Being able to talk, I could sit and talk with, for hours with people. But yeah, just sitting yourself up 1v1, looking into a camera, trying to talk.
Now what?
Trying to keep it natural is tricky.
Natural.
I was asking because I was just wondering if you noticed if you had been doing that, like a difference that made in your sales, customers like liking more of you, but I imagine it would.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
Because I feel like your business would
He's not going to dance.
with a TikTok. No. The tutorial side of TikTok.
Yeah.
Like even just like you showing you doing things and like kind of behind the scenes and like that could be the place to kind of get your voice on there. And
it may be, and I need to be more open to that. Cause like you mentioned,
it's content creating. It's a lot of effort.
It is. And it is tricky with creating shoes to like stop and capture certain things 100%. And then get back to work when you're trying to be so focused on
you're
what
in
you're
that
doing.
like flow state. And then you're like, I'm not going to stop to just
it's
BTS,
totally different things. Getting video and then doing your job.
It's hard too if you have like a paid client. They're paying you for those shoes. Like they're not paying you to make a reel.
Exactly.
So it feels kind of guilty. Like if you do anything that takes away from that end result. That's how I feel when I'm in a shoot. And I'm like, I can't pause to like do these things, but really no one cares.
Yeah.
Probably.
There's a lot of people who like do tons of BTS. They're all about the BTS.
I need to. And in reality, they're not paying me necessarily like by the hour by any means. I get a price. Yeah. And so I need to basically find a way to kind of squeeze that stuff in there and maximize with it. Cause I know it will pay off in the end.
You have kids, right? And just have your kids hold it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how well that'd go, but we'll figure something out.
So, okay, let's go back to what we were talking about before we start recording.
Yeah.
So you said you were in Rexburg before.
Yep.
And you had a studio there.
Yep.
And then now you moved to Idaho Falls.
Yep.
And you just got a studio.
Just got a studio here.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what made you come to Idaho Falls and leave Rexburg?
Just to be closer for work. I mean, because I'd been commuting back and forth for the last 3 years and got tired of that too. Because it tacks on an hour to your day.
This winters.
Just lost time. Winters are bad. Yeah. But it took away time, precious hours that I had in the evening to spend with my family. And then that's also when I do a lot of my work too. So we just wanted to be closer, more centralized. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So what kinds of things have you done besides social media to get clients?
Trying to get involved, like as far as like local events, like I mentioned, my barbershop up in Rexburg that does that event every summer. Trying to tap in with local schools. I've been able to do a few raffles with local high schools, Shelley High School.
Cool, that's a good idea.
I've done up some custom pairs.
Yeah.
And then they sell raffle tickets at high school basketball games. A lot of that funds go to the athletic programs, which here in Idaho, I mean, they can really use all of that. So it's kind of a cool way to give back to the community. But then also it pays back dividends with kind of just the exposure and getting to know people and meet people. And it's a lot of fun.
That's a great idea for the basketball games and giveaways. I would have never thought of that.
I'd enter those raffles if I saw that.
That's a really good idea.
No, and it's such a fun feeling. Last year at a Shelley game, there was this kid, he's probably like 10 years old tops. And he probably asked his mom for like $50. This kid bought a lot of raffle tickets. And I'm like, this kid has got to win. And I'm like mixing up the raffle bucket. Like, I hope this kid can win one of these pair of shoes. And he did. And they were like 5 sizes too big. But watching the kid put those on.
Yeah. So you just have one size. And
I did 2 pairs of shoes for that Shelley High School raffle. And one was like on the smaller size, but they were still too big for this kid. But I mean, it was the best feeling seeing this kid so excited. Like he appreciated those more than anyone else there.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like that, like Holes in Zero, that scene where he's got the stolen cleats and he's walking down the streets.
It was exactly
10 sizes too big.
Yeah, he didn't care. He put them on and laced them up and wore those the rest of the night. And I'm like, man, that's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
So sweet.
Yeah, like I would pay money back to all my clients just to see the reactions, because I don't get to see all of them. Sometimes, if I'm shipping them out or if it's a birthday present, I can't be at all of those places.
Yeah. Shit, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but seeing the reactions of people when they get to open up something that's for them, that's kind of a one of one thing, that's so fulfilling. It makes me feel good. I could cry.
Yeah, no, that's that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Need a little custom box with a little. As soon as they open it, it snaps a picture right away. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Luckily, a lot of people have been good enough and send me videos when they can, but obviously they're in the moment for a lot of that stuff. So, I mean, if I could be kind of a fly on the wall for those moments, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much do you normally charge for a pair of shoes?
It varies. As of late, I've started my base price around $150 for the labor, not including the shoe. Mm-hmm. And then it can kind of just go up from there depending on the intricacy of the design.
Okay.
But that's kind of the starting point. So
could I bring you like any shoe, or does it have to be?
Yeah. A lot of people think it has to be, like,
'cause I'm picturing like a Nike.
Yeah. A lot of people like the Nike all white Air Force One.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a good canvas. I'll say I'm sick of doing them.
What do you like?
I love Air Max 1s.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite shoe of all time. I probably have it's a sickening amount. I'm probably past 40 pairs of Air Max 1s.
For you personally?
Of my personal collection. Yeah. And creating custom sneakers too fuels that addiction. It's bad.
And are they all custom?
No, these are just Air Max 1s from Nike that I like.
Gotcha.
Because there's endless amounts of colorways and textures and patterns and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all research. Yeah,
for you. Exactly. Yeah. It fuels kind of the creativity side of things, seeing what else is out there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my favorite silhouettes, the Air Max 1. But I've done football cleats, Adidas basketball shoes, a lot of Nike shoes. Yeah, so I mean, really anything can be.
Is it like a special kind of paint so it doesn't wear off? Because I'm picturing cleats and those got to go through some wear and tear.
Cleats do get put through the ringer, and I think it's just like anything else. Even a standard cleat that hasn't been customized, they're going to get beat up and have the wear and tear. Mm-hmm. And people do have to understand that when you're putting something through that, especially wearable art, it is over time going to get beat up. That just is what it is. But I do the best I can with the paints and finishes that I use. So kind of the process with that is most shoes or cleats have a clear coat factory finish. So you have to make sure to get that off with kind of a light acetone, lay your layers of paint down. Yeah. Either having some dry time or heat gun in between each coat. And then there's a few different products. One from Liquid Kicks, or some people like to use just kind of not quite a lacquer or varnish, but
like a sealer.
Pretty much. And you have to build up a few coats of that just to kind of protect everything that you've put on there. And with most shoes, that works great. I mean, like I said, I have clients that have shoes now that are 3 or 4 years old that still look like the day that we made them. Sure, they might have creases and stuff in them from being worn, but the artwork's there and protected.
Do you bring your inspiration into these designs also, to help them figure out what they want on the shoe? Or do they usually kind of know what they want?
Some people, I should say most of my clients have had elements that they want me to incorporate. But the best part is, honestly, probably 95% of my clients have just said, freestyle this. Here's a few colorways that I want. Here's some elements I want you to incorporate. Do your thing.
Very much like a tattoo artist or something like that.
I trust you.
Yeah.
A lot of people
are the expert.
Exactly. They've trusted me, and it's been good doing that because it's built up quite the catalog of, hey, here's a bunch of different designs, and they can say, hey, I like what you did here on these certain shoes. Can you incorporate these X, Y, and Z?
Yeah. So. Is that all on your Instagram?
Yeah.
Like all of those? Okay.
Yeah. Cool. It's most of them.
Most of them.
Most of my work's up there.
Okay. And then, so I want to talk about how you balance your creativity and your home life, because you mentioned that you have 3 children.
Yep.
And a full-time job.
Yep. So
how do you balance all of
Very
that?
busy.
You are a busy guy.
Yeah. No,
children are busy.
Yeah. Kids are busy. It's tricky.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is 6, and then I have a 5-year-old, and then we have a 9-month-old son.
Oh,
aww.
A 9-month-old.
Yeah, no, it's tricky, but they're also part of my inspiration too, because the excitement that they have watching me do this stuff, it's kind of like the little kid who won the shoes. They're just like, oh man, this is the coolest thing ever.
They probably want to color all over the shoes too, right?
There's been some close calls where Sharpies and other things have almost made it onto some shoes.
I was gonna say, I don't even know if I could stop ours from grabbing all those pens if they were around. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Be a fit.
Nothing would ever get done.
Yeah, no, that's been the tricky thing, because the last couple of months I have done a lot of the work from home, and in the last several years I've had a studio or a workplace. So getting a new studio, I think will make it a little bit easier to kind of divide that time up like you were asking.
So are you doing like studio hours then, like a dedicated time for you to go into the studio?
Yeah, very much so. So, I mean, we have kind of a busy schedule. Kids are doing certain things, certain nights of the week. So I have to pick, this night and this night I'm going to go in from, 7 p.m. to midnight or whatever it takes, and lock in and knock stuff out. My wife is actually the one who's way better at keeping me balanced. I need her to just be my boss for this. Because
you should bring her in. Yeah.
I need to, because she'll get on me. Hey, you're falling behind on this. You need to get these things done. And so she keeps me in check, and
all your projects.
And is way better at balancing time and figuring things out, time slots, and keeping things organized. So
what does she do?
So she does photography. She's a stay-at-home mom, but then does photography, and it's good for her because it gives her time to still be fulfilled, getting out doing her own thing. Get some time away from the kids because she needs that. But yeah, she's been doing that the last few years. So
that's a
exciting,
good creative outlet.
Yeah, very much so.
So you're both very creative people then.
Yeah, I think she is more than me. I'm just trying to be, but
you're just trying to be
trying to stay creative.
As you have the most like artistic drawing profession on
I don't know about that.
Like, have you ever thought about any other type of? I mean, it sounds weird, but like art, like body painting spray, or like I don't know, like a shoe is like a weird shape and stuff.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. There's stuff out there. People pay money for a lot of things.
No, you're absolutely right. No, there's a lot of customizers that I follow. One of them, he started off doing like shoes, but now he does professional NHL goalkeeper helmets.
Cool.
And then he does body painting and does a lot of cool things, body artwork with airbrush paint.
Yeah.
So,
welder helmets.
There you go.
There's tons of welders in this state. That'd be a cool
Custom
welder helmets. Just like badass.
So does it matter? Does it have to be canvas or can you do metal?
No, yeah. The paints that I use can be used on like plastic, synthetics, canvas,
That's
metal,
a cool
wood.
idea. That's a good idea.
Right? I'm like, can you paint my camera?
No.
I mean, we could do the
like
body.
That could be like really cool. Like a film garage, like no one else in the world have a camera that looked like that.
You
or it could
know.
be an absolute failure. I don't know.
It's now covered
Nothing
in paint.
opens, everything doesn't work.
The warranty is not good anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would look good.
It would.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to talk to you
Next business question.
Yeah. Fire away.
Okay, so you told us that you charge $150 at a starting point, but where did you get your price points? Like many creatives struggle with pricing their services, especially in art.
Yeah, no, it's really tricky. I feel like in the first year or two, and I still kick myself to this day about it, but I feel like I really undercharged because I wanted to have people, buy it.
Yeah.
And I started noticing over time that it doesn't really matter where your price point is at. There's going to be people that fall into those categories that are willing to pay what you're charging. And I've tried to just find a happy medium to where it's like accessible and realistic to everyone. So anyone who wants to do it can do it. Because I mean, there's customizers out there that'll charge starting points of $500-$600 and people still pay that. I've just tried to keep myself in like a happy medium where it's worth my time and I enjoy it and feel good about it, and where it's still accessible to most of the people that want to do something like that.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is really tricky establishing that price point because there's times I feel like I was giving away stuff.
Yeah.
And you probably were.
Yeah, you probably were.
Yeah.
Especially all the hours and time that you put into it.
Very much so.
So if you don't mind saying, like, what was the cheapest shoe that you sold besides like a free giveaway shoe?
Yeah.
What was like where you felt you were just looking back at it like, why did I ever charge that?
I did this. I got reached out to from a home security summer sales company, and they wanted to do shoes for their top sellers. So I think there was like 10 pair of shoes, and these got delivered, and they were like, hey, we need these in a week. And
10 shoes in a week.
Yeah. And normally I'm like, hey, give me 3-4 weeks. I have lead times, time to get stuff set up and, go to the drawing board and get finished product out. And me just wanting to take on this project naively was like, yeah, we'll make it happen. And having those 10 shoes show up at my doorstep and then start opening them up and getting laces out, I'm like, this is a lot of work. And so I remember, I think I took 4 sick days at work and stayed home and worked all day for like 4 days straight to get these shoes done. And got them to hoping, there's going to be some good publicity from it, like radio silence.
They don't even say anything.
Didn't even hardly say anything. And I feel like my skills weren't maybe up to par for their expectations. I'm not sure what it was at the time.
You never know with the silence.
But I charged $25 a shoe
to customize them.
Because
I wanted to waste 4 PTO days.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was terrible, but that was a big learning experience. You know what? I was like, at that point, I was like, never again.
Yep.
Learned real quick.
Yeah, I learned real quick from that. Mm-hmm. And in prices, I've kind of moved them up as I feel like my skill levels have improved and my turnaround times and everything. I've just tried to better myself. And with that, feel like I've been able to justify different pricing. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. How long after that first shit show of 10 shoes for $25 each did you raise your prices?
Oh, it was like immediately.
Yeah.
Like immediately after that, I'm like, never again. No more freebies, no more low prices. But yeah, that was
if you had 2 or 3 weeks to work on it and not have to like take the PTO days, because that was us when we were full time. Like we would have to do some PTO days here or there, and then after it was over, it was like, oh yeah, damn, I wasted that PTO day. Like,
yeah, I remember there was this one day I was so livid. We took a PTO, well, not day, it's like a half day. Yeah. But still wasting 4 hours for someone else, and when you're not already getting paid. I think it was a free shoot we were doing just for clout, because we were at that point where we were still like listening to people who said, oh, this will get you more work because you do it with me. Mm-hmm. So we did. Had gear rented and all this stuff from like a rental house, and had went to go pick up the gear, left work early, got everything, basically got to the location of the shoot. No one's there. I called the guy and he's like, oh yeah, we're going to do it at this other place, which is downtown, which is where I just left.
2 hours. Well, no, it was across. It was in Kapolei. It was like 2 hours away.
We were in downtown and we were supposed to shoot in Kapolei. So we go to Kapolei and then he's like, I want to shoot back downtown kind of thing. So we come back downtown, which in Hawaii is like 4 hours.
No, I think in that moment I was like, no, we're done.
And we just told him, we were like, I'm done with you. And I don't think we ever talked to that guy since.
No, we honestly didn't.
As a person, I feel a little bit bad because he's tried to reach out and like act like everything's fine. Yeah. But I can't. Like it wasn't the first time. That was my life that you're doing that to. Yeah. Like it's like these people like giving you 10 shoes. Like they should have known 25. I mean, like I don't know what you told them, but like even if I heard that, I'd be like, I can't. Like, I have to pay you like 50 a shoe or something.
Yeah.
Like as a business too, they were a business.
Yeah. Part of it though was like, I was really naive on my part, and I really wanted to get my foot in the door with something. I'm like, hey, maybe if I give them a good deal, this is going to bring more work, kind of thing, like you're talking about. But
then you realize real quick,
yeah, classic.
Yep. So
it's hard going from a smaller scale thing to try to like tackle a big thing, and you like all of a sudden realize all the extra variables that come in.
Yep. And I was getting calls like almost every couple hours from their marketing guy, like, hey, can you change this or do this or. Yeah, it was
stressing you out even more.
It was bad. So yeah, never again after that. I learned real quick.
Like we didn't pay that extra fee to do last minute changes. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So that is a
we've come a long way from
you've gotten more comfortable with your pricing since.
Yeah, very much so. Just mainly because like what I mentioned, there's going to be people in every price point that are willing to pay for your work. And y'all have probably seen that with photography and videography. That's an important
thing to remember. Mm-hmm. It's like, there's always different levels and different people will pay it.
Mm-hmm. It's always hard when you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be easier if I had a business that I wasn't as attached to. Mm-hmm. Maybe if it was a service that I was just delegating things. But when it's like the thing I really care about, like these photos, and if someone's like, oh, I can't do this, but I could do it for 200 less, like the inside of me really wants to say yes, like every time, like right away without even questioning. Wants to be like, let's
Don't
do
tell
it.
that to everybody. No, just kidding.
Yeah. No, but as a business, you have to realize like what the business needs. And it's not
Yeah.
about what you want. It's about what the business needs. It's like,
To
sure,
survive.
I might want to do this shoot, but if we do that, we're not going to be able to do this and not going to be able to keep doors open. So it's like,
And it was also something we saw recently where it was like, if you start cheapening your work for other people, it's now disvaluing the expensive work you did for everyone else.
Exactly.
And so I've been really keeping that in mind. It's like, no,
you
we've
do have-
already set our value point and we can't.
those customers
shift
who
that.
really do value you and pay your price without like hassle.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones you want.
Exactly. No, and I have a lot of people that have been like that have been with me from day one and got good deals at the beginning, but are still willing and have come back to do more work.
Good.
And they see the value
And they
there.
want you to grow, I'm sure. Like they want to
Absolutely.
support you at that point.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my personal barber, he's been that guy. He's got a few pairs for me, and he's seen me from the very starting and in the growth, and has been willing to pay whatever the price is to get work. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, it is good to have people too that appreciate your work and know the time that you put into it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That does help. Like, I guess that's kind of a collaboration, but like just having someone who has your back and will kind of talk about you. And
Very much
it's
so.
really, it's nice. It's nice.
It is.
Yeah.
Do good work and people will say good things.
Exactly.
Do bad work and they might just be silent. I'm just kidding.
No, I feel like you have to be careful too, because I mean, I
No,
feel like
whenever I don't get responses from people when I send them their photos,
yeah,
I'm like,
He's like, they hate it.
they hate
everything.
it.
it's tricky too, because I feel like people are more willing to talk about bad work than they are good experiences too. Like,
It is. It's a stat.
Yeah, it's a statistic,
It
right?
is.
I don't want to try and BS the statistic right now, but it was like 5 or 10 times more likely to tell multiple people about a bad
100%.
experience and leave a bad review.
A
and-
detractor.
yeah, exactly.
That was our big thing in retail. It was like the detractor was like 80% or something more likely to go and like talk badly about you to then someone who was a good person. I always called it our hate mail, our surveys. Never nothing good.
Luckily, with the people that are coming to me, they kind of know what they want, and when they get the finished product, luckily so far it seems like most people have been pretty happy with it. And
So you deal with bookings all personal. You don't have a booking system.
nah, I mean,
Okay. Which makes sense for what you're doing.
yeah, I have to kind of just, with full-time job and life and kids and stuff, have to kind of just find hours, but I try and give myself basically a couple of week lead time and at least have a calendar of, hey, you need to have this done by this date, and just set it up that way to where I'm consistently moving products out. So
That's good. Do you have multiple projects you're working on at one time?
yeah, no, I have to. And so, I mean,
Okay.
at any given time, I think the most I've had at once was probably 6 or 7 different pairs of shoes.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And it's a good thing too, because getting like an artistic writer block, I guess, if you want to call it that, writer's
Sure.
block.
Yeah.
I can, leave that project, go to another one, and take a break from that and kind of refocus. And so it's good to have multiple projects going on at once. I just have to
Yeah.
keep grinding through it.
Keep managing those schedules, not lose the dates on that.
I was going to ask you that if it's something you can come back to or if you just do it all in one sitting.
My personality, I like to, like, if I can, I want to just like lock in for several hours and just get a project done if I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of times to where I'll just, you know what, we're going to call it a night. I don't have the creativity or the right energy that I need to have taking this on. I'm going to stop for a couple hours and I'll come back to it later.
So with colors and things, do you mix colors?
Yeah.
So like
Hell
if
yeah.
you were to come back to a project the next day and you have to mix that exact same shade of blue, is that hard to do?
So if I do have a project like that where I need a specific color, I'll make sure that I make enough of it and have it in basically a small mixer bottle to where I have enough to get me through the project.
Smart.
That makes sense.
Smart.
And I've also learned from that mistake doing exactly what you said.
Yeah.
I'm like,
'Cause I get-
finished one shoe and I'm like, oh,
Shit.
shoot.
The shade is like just slightly off now.
And I've made that mistake. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay, you need to prep, I've kind of established now I need this amount of paint to be able to cover 2 shoes and know how much I need to mix and have available. So
Yeah.
all stuff you learn.
Yeah. No, I've learned that with shoots with us when they're like wanting like product shoots or something and it needs to be like exactly to a T and you do it the next day and one thing's just slightly off and
There's a lot of variables.
it just crazy. Things just change so fast day to day. So I
So
figured
much.
with yours, that would be like the hardest part.
Yeah, that is tricky. I mean, and it can come down to almost the same as photography. Like your lighting can be different, and it might look one way, you know, if you're working on it the night before, and I might have natural daylight coming in.
Yeah, what do you work under? Do you have like big lights?
I do. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll steal like my wife's box lights and stuff. And,
there you go.
But yeah, I always make sure that I have a really well lit natural light area just to try and do the best work as possible light. And try and get the color of what they were expecting.
Yeah.
You do this whole shoe and walk outside in the light and see that it's brown and not black or something.
Exactly. No, that's happened too. I mean, pretty much every bad thing you can think of has happened too. And I've been able to learn from that.
Yeah. So my next question was going to be like, challenges are inevitable for every business. Mm-hmm. What is like a biggest challenge that has stuck out to you that you've learned from? Maybe.
Oh, biggest challenge.
I know. I'm trying to think of like, what's our biggest challenge?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest challenge for me has to, I feel like I'm kind of a perfectionist, and to still push to put out quality work, but not be so hyper focused on some of the small things that no one else will notice.
Right.
I can waste hours of just like nitpicking small things that when I give the shoe to someone, they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Yeah. And I'm beating myself up if I don't like it.
Like, I see that dot. Don't look at the dot. Huh.
Yeah. And so really for any type of creative, it would, you know, they may probably have run into that challenge, but for me, that's probably been the biggest thing, is to not be such a perfectionist to where it hinders your work and turnaround times. Yeah. And to just let it flow.
It's like trusting in the process a little bit. Like
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. And just let things flow.
So for you now, trying to transition, I mean, the ultimate goal, I imagine, is to do this full time.
I'd love to.
Other than just obviously people hearing about your name, like what kinds of things are you trying to do to get there? You know, are there any partnerships coming up now in this new year that you're like excited about, or
there's a few things in the works
you can tell us about?
Stuff that is still kind of like under wraps. Okay. In reading your guys' questions that, you know, when we first kind of started talking via email, that was very much one of the things in my mind. I'm like, you know what, like, what am I doing? I do need to collaborate with people. And so there are a few things that are under wraps still, exciting, that I know are just going to benefit me.
Awesome.
That's something that I've not been good at in the past, that I'm like, you know what, I think it'll be a springboard forward. So
right. For sure. Is it local collaborations?
Yeah. Local collaborations. And that's been where a lot of my clientele is, you know, and so I'm like, you know, I'm going to keep growing here and still, you know, try and keep tabs on the other areas where I've done work, but kind of start here and grow out.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about trade shows? Random thought, just like going around to places around the country, setting up booths with your shoes and like.
I haven't, and I think I've been.
I don't even know if that's a thing that people
step.
do for selling shoes. But
I'm sure it is, and I think I've been scared because it's like, you know, go to a trade show and it could be kind of home turf for several other big customizers already in the area, and I think has been one of my hesitations.
Interesting. I didn't think about that. Is that a thing? A worry?
Yeah, no, very much a worry. Yeah, no, because there's people all over the country. I mean, probably tens of thousands of people who do this exact same thing, I would imagine. And there's several big customizers that I follow in just about every state that I can think of. And so I'm like, here, I guess it could be, I mean, maybe hindering me too. I mean, this is kind of like my safe place, you know?
Well, maybe it's just not that time for you to be doing those conference type things. Like maybe in another couple of years you will be there.
Yeah, maybe
at that point.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
I just think get your name out there. I think don't be afraid. It's going to be stupid advice, or I mean, easier said than done, but like, don't be afraid by the bigger guys. Like, if you do good work, like go to a city. Like when we moved to Hawaii and saw how just like my eyes were open from living in Idaho to a city, especially living in Hawaii.
Sure.
And you just like open your eyes to just like, there's just so much more out there. And like, if you can put yourself in that mix, like you'll elevate yourself too.
Oh, that's a good point. For sure.
Yeah.
No, good advice. I do appreciate it. And it's something that I got to focus on.
But obviously time, money, resources, all that comes into play. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for someone who is an aspiring creative and starting their own business?
Looking back, I mean, if I were to do it over again, like don't hesitate. Just like jump in, get your feet wet.
Okay.
And especially with art, like any type of art, it doesn't matter what it is, be it photography, videography, you know, custom shoes like we're talking about. Just get in and do it. Because I spent so much time wondering about what could go wrong or how I was going to do it, and wanted to have a perfect plan set up in place before I started.
Yeah, before even starting.
Yeah. And you can't, you never will. So it's just like, just jump into it. You're going to make mistakes, but you're going to learn from that. So if I could go back like 6-7 years ago, I'd smack myself silly, just start, just do it.
Awesome. That's really great advice.
Last question. How many shoes have you made by this point? Customized?
I don't know.
More than 100? More than 200?
Yeah, we're probably in that realm now. We're probably getting past,
Cool.
probably past 100 or so.
That's exciting though.
I've lost
That's
track.
a lot of shoes.
Yeah.
You have pictures of them all?
At the work.
Yeah. Not some of them. I have saved a lot of content to like try and post, because that's hard, consistency too, of having constant stuff coming out. And so there's a lot of stuff that's done that's not out yet, but I try and keep a good catalog of everything, of all the work.
Okay.
I need some custom Film Garage shoes. That's all I know.
Film Garage shoes.
Let's make it
I'm
happen.
worried because that's lime green, so I'm not sure about the lime green. I have to choose a
It'll
different
be
color.
subtle. It'll be subtle. He's got taste. He'll make it classy.
He's got some taste.
Yeah, well, I know a guy, so we can make it happen.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on our podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
So nice meeting you. Where can everybody find you so that they can get some custom shoes?
Yeah, kind of the main avenue that most people have tapped in is just through Instagram. So it's just Lando Laces. So reach out to me. Doesn't matter what kind of project you have in mind, we'll make it happen.
Cool. Send a DM.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was gonna ask. So do you do like shoes that have been messed up? Like I saw it was an old show forever ago, and it would be like vintage shoes, and then they would fix them and make them like brand new again, like cool old shoes.
When I first started, there were some like used shoes that I had taken on, and I've just found that the finished product didn't necessarily meet what the client was expecting, because they're expecting it to look like a new shoe that's been customized.
Yeah.
And it's a used shoe that's been customized, and you don't always get the same result.
For sure.
So I have basically just completely moved away from that. So it's anything that I do take on.
New shoes.
New shoe.
Okay.
Because I want
shoes.
people to be happy with what the end result is.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the best end result with something that's new.
Sure.
For sure. Okay. Sounds great. Well, great talking with you today,
Yeah,
Landon.
you guys as well.
Okay.
Okay. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Landon. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.